6. I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm running out of fingers, but we'll figure it out. Henry Maldonado Jr., Vince Mercandetti, Dawn City, shorter break in between. Let's go.
Our first weekly one. Welcome, everyone. And welcome to March. There is real baseball at the end of this month. So something to look forward to, other things to look forward to. Our rundown for tonight. So we're going to discuss injuries first, kind of same as last week. Keep everyone updated around the league with some major injuries or threats of injuries. If you're the Yankees, they're real. And then we'll get into just discussing spring training, something we haven't really gotten into yet. We'll touch on the Marlins in particular, a few thoughts on them. Keith Law's farm rankings have come out, so we'll discuss that kind of later on. And then a couple of updates around baseball in general, and then we'll finish up with odds for each team. We'll discuss that, a little bit of gambling advice, if you will, and go from there. So, Henry, first and foremost, before we get into it, as I pull up for the comment section here, what where are you at mentally right now? Yankees have been playing for about a week, 2 weeks now, spring training wise. Like what level of excitement / concern / what are you looking for?
I'm excited. Love that we're getting games, televised games. A few people in the group have actually posted a few videos and pictures from groups games that they've attended, which is pretty cool. And you're just starting to get that feel of baseball. Midday checking scores, rushing home to catch a game, see who's pitching in the split squad. So I'm glad we have baseball back. We're going to be doing our show weekly. That's exciting. A lot of content coming. So it's exciting. Baseball's back. I can almost smell the burnt wood on the bat.
Yeah, either one of those back there.
Yeah.
We have and speaking of, we have a special announcement for our next show. And then of course after that, we'll get into that whole thing later. Our next show is going to be 2 weeks from now, but then from then until the rest of the season, we should be weekly. But let's get right into it here now. We've got a bunch of injuries. I'm going to turn to my injury report computer over here. And we'll kind of go around the league. I'll give you some updates. We'll touch on our thoughts on them real quick. First one, Red Sox Chris Sale, actually a step forward for him. He has thrown live batting practice. So still projected end of April, so he's not going to start opening day. But the elbow is not the issue. It's just a matter of getting him enough innings at this point to ramp up because of his pneumonia, which left him looking like he was 120 pounds. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know about you.
He looks like he put on like 2 pounds, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think he's getting it back. He apparently ate ribs. We don't mention 12 Up articles, but according to 12 Up, he ate ribs for 4 days straight.
Okay.
I don't know why or how that correlates to pneumonia, but
I still am not a fan of how the dude looks, man.
Yeah, I mean, you never are. But my one thought on him is, and I think this isn't necessarily a hot take, like the entire Red Sox season rests on him.
Yeah. I don't think they're going anywhere, but I mean, whatever good they do get, it's going to primarily come from him. He's going to lead the pack.
Yeah, I don't think they're going anywhere either, kind of for that reason. Like you can't, this isn't even like a Garrett Cole situation in New York. If Garrett Cole went down, that's major, but Severino's already gone down. Like if Sale goes down, the Red Sox could lose 90 games. They could fold like a tent.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And speaking of folding, he looks like he's ready to fold.
Yeah. Got to put some weight on. Speaking of other...
I have some of mine. I mean, I have plenty to spare.
Yeah, go lend him some.
Yeah, I can give him some. Yeah, don't have to give it back.
So we've got going to contenders now. The Dodgers, Cody Bellinger, nothing serious there. Looks like he has some side discomfort. So he was replaced in center field in the game, but it's apparently not serious. And he might have gotten it during an Albert Pujols. Is ironic. Albert Pujols charity golf tournament. So Pujols even injuring other players.
I mean, they got to keep the Dodgers-Angels rivalry alive somehow.
Yeah, so maybe it'll get – I don't know how West Coast controversies work. Like, if that happened in New York, like a Mets player made Aaron Judge get hurt or something, that would be a huge story. I don't know if it is over there.
Well, let's just keep Judge away from Cespedes and, any farms, so we'll be fine.
But yeah, in fact, if any Angels or Dodgers fans are listening, let us know if that is the case or not, if that's a story at all. Bellinger getting hurt.
Speaking of gathering, and I'm again totally doing what I do. I just go off script. Did you see Mike Trout pulverize that fucking
Oh
golf
my
ball?
God, that was awesome. It's like hypnotizing. I watched it 100 times in a row.
He hit that shit perfectly. It just obliterated, and it was money. Like it shit was just perfect.
It like defied physics. It just kept going up, and then you just lose sight of it.
It disappeared in a second.
Yeah,
But you could tell he just got everything. His swing was perfect. The dude, he can't do any fucking wrong, man.
I would love a sports science. It probably exists. A sports science on his swing, just the
His golf swing,
force that goes into it.
his golf swing or his MLB
Either
swing.
one. I mean, the golf swing to me is more impressive than the baseball swing.
Oh yeah, I say we get an MLB players tournament. 9 holes. It gonna be 18. Just give me front nine.
Yeah, that was nuts. All his white friends celebrating like crazy too. That was fun to see.
It's
On
one
to
of the
the
few posts that people didn't get riled up, that everyone can collectively say, "Hey, that was cool."
yeah, it's a feel good post for the spring. Moving on to the Yankees here. There's so many injuries with the Yankees. They actually didn't include all of them, so I'll kind of go off the cusp here. But there's optimism, which doesn't really mean anything when you're the Yankees, about Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton is not limping anymore, so yeah, they're gonna evaluate him in like a week or two to see if he can start ramping up. Still not ruled out for opening day. Aaron Judge's reports were negative. They were doing some testing on his shoulder, an MRI on his right shoulder that came back negative. That could be good or bad.
That one's still a little scary to me. He doesn't feel discomfort throwing, but he feels discomfort swinging.
Yeah,
So
and you never know with the Yankee doctors. Aaron Hicks, good news again. It doesn't mean much. He may be back in late May, early June, which is.
I'm a big Hicks guy. You know that.
I love Hicks when he's
When
healthy.
healthy, he's probably second best American League center fielder behind Trout. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a big gap between them, but
yeah, big gap. But yeah, so I mean, maybe he's back earlier. Paxton and Hicks, you cross your fingers that they're gonna be on the front end of their timelines.
I'm not worried about Stanton. I know a lot of people were giving him shit in the groups and all over Facebook and the forums. Not just our group. Calling him Mr. Glass. I think he'll be ready for opening day. You already know what I think he's gonna do this year. I'm not worried about Stanton. I know he's got to get that little moniker off his back. Hey, you're injured. You're this. You're that. You pull muscle. He's gonna be fine. People forget he played 158 games for the Yankees the year before.
Yeah, I'm a little less excited about him as you are, only because in my mind I was like, all right, first year he comes over, no matter who it is, they may struggle a little bit just adjusting to a new league, adjusting to New York, adjusting to that sort of stuff. Yeah, contrary to popular belief, right-handed hitters in Yankee Stadium, not necessarily an advantage there. But Stan obviously has the crazy oppo power as well.
Yeah.
But 2018 or 2019, I was like, all right, he's going to have an MVP season because the jitters are out. He's not the man, he's got a supporting cast. And then he gets hurt all year. So now 2020, I kind of don't know what to expect at this point because.
I'm super high on Stanton. Super
I don't know if he's going to play. But we'll see.
No, I know, I get it. And I can't, I can't say, hey, you can't have that kind of pessimism, but I get it, but I'm really high on Stan. I actually got him pretty decently in a fantasy league. I think like in round 4 or 5, maybe even later.
He would just be on my do not draft list. I totally respect that. That's a great value, but he'd be on my do not. It's like the Cubs in 2015. I was like, they're going to go on a run. They could win the World Series, and then when they just got like murdered by the Mets. In 2016, I was like, all right, I'll believe it when I see it. Like, they're just never going to win the World Series until it happens. That's kind of where I'm at with Stanton. Like, I will not believe he'll have another healthy season until he does.
I get it, and I understand why, but I'm high on Stanton this year.
So that's the Yankees. Since our last show, Severino, of course, out for the season. So that was a major blow. I think the Yankees can withstand it as they can most injuries, but that obviously you hate to lose an arm like that. That's a playoff game starting arm. So anytime you lose that, it's not good.
No, that takes the Yankees from like 112 wins to 105.
That's the thing, like the regular season, okay. It's lower hundreds now, maybe.
People forget Severino missed most of last year.
Yeah, and Paxton, Tanaka, and Cole, I absolutely trust in playoff games. So you're really talking about like a game 4 of the playoffs. That's what that impacts, and we'll see, where the rest of the team's at. Maybe Hap has a huge year. Who knows?
Speaking of which, I don't care who we're facing, where we're facing them. Tanaka gets the ball game 1.
I'm not going over Cole.
I will.
We can talk about that at a later show, but I would not.
We'll talk about that in October.
He's like an ideal game 2 guy to me. But speaking of game 2 guys, Blake Snell, elbow discomfort for the Rays. So interesting. He says he's ahead of where he was last year, like physically.
Right.
But he does have elbow discomfort. And he received a cortisone shot, which to me is not a good first sign. So outer half of his left elbow won't make his start next week. To me, that's all sorts of red flags. Maybe I'm a paranoid Yankee fan, but
I think you're right, and I think that's a guy I'm hesitant to draft right now. With pitchers, you want to hear shoulder over elbow. You hear elbow when you start freaking out. You know what's the worst.
And he was hurt last year.
Discomfort turns to loose bodies, which turn to, oh shit, you need Tommy John.
Yeah. I have a very particular, we'll talk about this maybe on one of Sean and Felipe's shows eventually. My thought process on fantasy starters is very strict, and Snell would not fit the qualifications.
Which, by the way, the term loose bodies, I think I've heard more in the last 3 years than I ever have in my life.
I had never heard it till Evaldi. He's like known for his loose bodies.
All in MLB. I've never heard the term loose bodies.
Yeah, it's such a slutty term too. Like you just think all of the starters are just giant horrors with their loose bodies flying around.
If there was someone you want to hear loose body, you would have said Pavano created that shit.
Yeah, so loose bodies is now the most feared term in fantasy sports.
And guys just say that shit like, we know what the hell loose bodies. What's a loose body? I don't know.
Not a clue. We just know that the Yankees collect them. Severino has a bunch. Now he doesn't because he had the surgery. Andrew McCutchen.
Didn't they uncover something during the surgery?
Yeah, they fixed some other shit that I guess all the MRIs
never came up.
Yeah, it just didn't. Yankees computers are Macs from 1991, so I guess it just doesn't. They have X-ray machines like the Flintstones. It just doesn't pick shit up, I guess.
Ben Dearth, I have plenty of loose bodies.
Yeah. Andrew McCutchen, possibly a loose body. He's completing recovery from torn ACL. I forgot he had that in his left knee. They expect him to be back sometime in April. So it doesn't sound like he'll be back opening day, but maybe shortly after.
But they give him 2 years, right? Well, no, they gave him 3 years.
Yeah, $350, I think. Yeah.
I mean, that's a rough signing, but Kutch is one of those guys you'll always root for, at least for me.
Yeah, he's one of those guys I'm like, sorry, Phillies. I'm happy he's getting his $50 million, whether he plays another game.
I will always root for Kutch as long as he puts on a uniform, man.
Especially when the Pirates underpaid him his entire career.
He's like Granderson to me. He's that guy that everyone loves him, no one hates him,
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of guys I at least love because he's a Red and I now love the Reds, Suarez, Eugenio. Am I saying that right, or is it Eugenio?
Eugenio.
Yeah, all right.
Come on, Vince. Get a little Puerto Rican.
That's your department. He began throwing lightly, swinging with both arms, which does not paint a great visual for me. For the first time on Friday, he had surgery to remove loose cartilage. Here we go again in his right shoulder. Can't these baseball players just have their cartilage intact and all of their bodies in the right place?
Yeah, that's not a good sign for him, but
yeah. He had a swimming pool accident in South Florida. I did not know him, but he's not ruled out for opening day though.
He's on the Hunter Pence kick.
Yeah. Griffin Canning, Angels,
dude,
MRI.
Dude, that's what we need to do on the show one day.
What?
Injuries. Freak injuries.
Oh, yeah. That could be 3 shows.
Yeah, we need a segment on freak injuries, the dumb shit.
I'm sure during the season, covering the Yankees, they will
get something.
That will come up.
Just off the top of my head, you have Pavano getting a blowjob.
Wait, is that really what happened?
That's really what happened.
Was that the car accident one?
He crashed the car while getting a blowjob. We have Cespedes with the wild boar, Hunter Pence with the glass door,
I think John Smoltz ironed himself once.
There's so many. We have to do that one day.
Yeah, I agree. That'll be a good show.
Yeah.
We'll cover that at some point before October. That will be on the show. Griffin Canning, actually, his MRI revealed chronic changes to his ulnar collateral ligament and acute joint irritation. So it's essentially inconclusive. He's going to undergo further testing to confirm whether or not he has a tear in his UCL. So the Angels and Yankees medical staffs are like, right, neck and neck. Like, they do a test to see if you have an ulnar tear, and they don't have a result on it.
If the Angels, the last thing they could have afforded to lose is a pitcher.
No, and I love, Canning's great too. Yeah, Ben, good call. Bumgarner crashing his dirt bike, and then
Yes.
he has a rodeo career.
Oh, wait. Was it Trevor Bauer that cut himself with the drone?
Yes. Yep. Before the playoffs too.
Ben, by the way, we're going to get back to Florida later.
Yeah. Trust me, Ben, we've got a whole segment on it. Speaking of Trevor Bauer, the Indians' series of injuries, Clevenger and Carrasco. It looks like Carrasco is scheduled to throw live batting practice. I think everyone can safely root for him.
Yeah.
He should.
Is his injury related to the illness, or is it something else?
This is a hip flexor strain, so not related to the illness. He should pitch next week. Aaron Savale, sore groin. That's my favorite injury in baseball.
What?
By the way. Yeah, I don't know.
A sore groin?
Yeah, sore groin. It's my favorite injury.
Oh, sore groin. Okay.
Sore groin. Yeah, like the Gary Sanchez special.
That's the Dong City injury of choice.
Yeah, that is the Dong City approved injury, sore groin. He's scheduled to throw live batting practice Saturday, and Clevenger, who had that surgery to repair his meniscus, has been working out with weighted balls. That's a favored Dong City term.
Yes.
Transitioning to a throwing program. So the Indians have their own starting pitching problems going on. But maybe no one more injured than the White Sox. And that's Yasmani Grandal, Dane Dunning, Michael Kopech, Gio Gonzalez, and Lucas Giolito all have injury updates. Grandal injured his calf 2 weeks before the White Sox open camp. He hasn't played yet. No timeline on his return yet for all you fantasy guys who are looking at him around that 8th round. He is not ruled out for opening day yet. Dunning and Kopech both threw live batting practice. They're both coming off major surgeries. Dunning's first since undergoing Tommy John. Kopech working his way also back from Tommy John. Gio Gonzalez
has been a walking injury since he's been drafted.
Yep. Gio Gonzalez, 20 pitches off flat ground. And
still alive?
What's that?
Gio still alive?
Yeah, he's still kicking. He's somewhere. They got him and Keuchel, who are they're like the transient guys now. And Giolito threw 30 pitches of live batting practice, so he does not have a debut lined up, but he is still not ruled out opening day. And then you've got Mike Leake on the D-backs. He's probably not ready opening day. Justin Verlander on the Astros said he felt good, of course. He was scratched from his start. I didn't even know he was injured.
What's Verlander's injury? Bruised ego?
Groin discomfort. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he probably got punched in the dick. That's my guess. He's I think they're just being cautious with him. And then finally, Jorge Alfaro on the Marlins. They cannot afford any injuries, or else they might, not win 62 games. No update on him. He was scratched from the lineup with a tight left oblique, and he's going to do activity to stay in shape. So good for the Marlins. Those are your injury updates. They seem to get longer and longer.
That's not even all of them. That's just, some of them.
Yeah, those are only the major ones. I didn't even include what's happening with the Pirates because no one cares about them. They're banned from the show until further notice. Ooh. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, with all of that said, let's stick with the Marlins for a second. We're going to go a little out of order here. They kind of fit into our early spring observations here. The Marlins are 7-2. I did not see they were tied with the Nationals last I saw today, so I'm not sure. I'm looking that up right now. Looks like they lost.
San Diego has the best record.
Yes, in the Cactus League.
Yes.
And overall, Marlins are 7-3. They lost the Nationals today. They're still in first in the Grapefruit League. We know that standings don't matter, obviously, even though I will say the Yankees are right among the top. But the Marlins, are an interesting team because they're like their farm rankings, and we'll get into this later with Keith Law. They're kind of starting to show a little bit of signs from, I think, what Derek Jeter and company were planning to do in the beginning. Lewis Brinson, too, the Yelich main return, having a great spring, but we say this every spring, and then he bats 162, so
Right.
we'll see.
I mean, the Marlins, we know what they had to do. They had to strip it down, get picks in return, draft right, choose the right prospects, and hope they hit. They do have a plus 11 run differential.
Yeah, we're looking for anything that makes the Marlins positive.
Yeah,
I wouldn't rule them out to like maybe turn a big corner in
Ooh,
2023.
time out. Take a guess what the Pittsburgh Pirates run differential is in spring.
Oh God, negative 30.
Close, 31.
Wow, that's really bad.
Only to be bested by the team that some people think will compete, the Arizona Diamondbacks at negative 33.
That's not good. I mean, these things ultimately mean nothing, but you'd hate, I would hate to be outscored that much in general anytime.
The Padres are just kicking everyone's ass, plus 26, and I think the Yankees are second at plus 17.
Yeah. So, and on the
Not
whole,
that run differential means much in the spring. You have guys that are never making the team playing, but it's
I
fun.
always find, and I don't think this is backed up by facts, I always find teams that have good prospects but not a good major league product tend to do really well in spring because they're mostly showcasing guys who have huge talent compared to the other teams like B-lists. But I've got no proof of that. It's probably not true, just kind of an inkling. In general, what are your, we've watched spring a little bit. I've watched a few games here and there. Like, do you have any sort of thoughts on that or?
Yes. Throw the whole shit away. It means nothing.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
It's just fun to talk about. If guys look good, you say, great, they're going to have a big year. If guys look like shit, you say, oh, it's okay. They can get it out the way. Spring means nothing. It's just a matter of getting the practice in, getting the routine in. I don't put too much credence on, especially the veteran guys, but it's fun to talk about,
Yeah, what's cool is, it's actually not cool, as that Red Sox player, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's a center fielder.
Rusney Castillo? No.
No, no, not him. He looked really good. He reminds me of a young Jacoby Ellsbury. And Ben, if you're still listening, who's the Sox center field prospect? I don't know if he's necessarily top 100, but he looked good. Like that was a takeaway for me. Watching the Yankees-Sox game. The Yankees, there's not a lot to report. I guess we'll get more into that later as we get into the prospects. But, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole ton to look for. But I think the injuries, honestly, are the most important part.
Yeah, I just think getting everyone healthy. If we're going to go through injuries, it should happen now. And, you want to get everyone back by April. If you miss a couple weeks in March, you miss a week in April, that's fine. You want to start the ball rolling, mid-April. You want everyone healthy.
Yeah. Well, we are hoping the Marlins keep up the good luck, make the NL East tough. And in celebration of the Marlins, I will share one Florida man story. This is over from Above the Dugout when we had that show. This one's for you, Henry. I know you love Florida man stories. And it's from today's date, but in 2013, the title, just to give you, this is out of the New York Times. The headline is Crews halt effort to find man lost in Florida sinkhole that swallowed his room. So I guess what had happened in Seffner, Florida, which I don't even know where that is.
Florida, and that headline is Florida.
Yeah, like I said, it's like a 7.5 on the Florida scale. The effort to find the body of a Florida man who was swallowed by a sinkhole under his home was called off Saturday while crews tried to learn how far the underground cavity reached and whether more homes were at risk. But here's my favorite quote. At this point, it's really not possible to recover the body. We're dealing with a very unusual sinkhole.
Okay, so, and this is an inside joke because I said something earlier. This is perfect. Bugs Bunny cutting Florida off the map? That's literally what happened to him. Bugs Bunny said, I'm tired of Florida. Fuck this. He took the saw, and there's your story.
It's like a badge of pride. I live in a state where literally the earth could just swallow you. I mean,
You have you have Orlando, which is like fun,
yeah,
expensive tourism, and then you have the rest of Florida.
yeah. Orlando, Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Miami are like, that's where you get civilization, and the rest of Florida is just outlandishly insane.
And even though it's Tampa, it's Ybor City.
Yeah, well, in Tampa, you got your strip clubs. Miami has its Coke or whatever they're doing these days. And
Miami's going back to the Vice City days.
yeah, that's the best Vice City too. So that's your Florida man story. We'll switch right into this MLB. In my mind, you can probably explain this better than I can, but MLB, in my mind, dropping the ball again with this YouTube TV deal. So why don't you give us a little background as to what's happening there, and then we can make fun of Rob
They
Manfred.
had an exclusive deal with YouTube TV where they would air a certain number of games live on YouTube TV, and it was in an effort to have fans sign up. And it's another revenue stream and another way to view games. A bunch of fans signed up. YouTube and Fox and a couple of other networks said, "Screw you, fans. We're not going to air the TV games." However, a tweet dated March 1st from Team YouTube: "We have agreed to a temporary extension. Fox Regional Sports Networks and Yes Networks are still available on YouTube TV while we work to reach an agreement. We will be sure to update. Be sure to share an update as soon as we have more info on the potential resolution/timeline."
Wow.
Money, money, money.
They don't, I mean, it's bad for either side.
It just looks bad, man. You had a bunch of fans sign up specifically because you were offering this. You had games that were blacked out everywhere else because they were airing them on YouTube last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fans spend money. They don't want to hear, "Oh, we couldn't reach a deal," or, billion-dollar companies are fighting while, middle income families are fucking struggling, and you're bullshitting.
Yeah.
Right, but like you said, MLB is just tanking one on the chin left and right this season.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like, to me, and I'm sure there's details behind this that I maybe don't understand or don't care to understand. It's crazy to me, like, MLB TV app, right, does not cover every game.
No,
Like,
which is stupid.
it's such a simple concept that it boggles my mind. It blacks out games to local people. Like, I can't watch Yankees Rays, and I can't watch it on Sling either because so like my subscription service doesn't have it, and then I can't watch it on an MLB TV app, which I pay for because I'm local to the Tampa market.
You would think that it's a simple fix, even if they share a revenue where the teams with TV networks, the Yankees, the Red Sox, I'm drawing a blank, who else have networks, the Cubs.
Yep.
You would think that, okay,
Braves, I think
we can air it on MLB TV, we'll air their feed, give them X amount of money for each game, and call it a day.
Yeah.
You can't have games blacked out on your own website when you're MLB.TV.
Right.
You just can't. It's stupid.
Yeah. It is stupid. And this, it's kind of a feel-good story we've got with the with MLB, but it's also kind of not, in that Kerwin Danley, this is the other news, named the first black crew chief umpire ever, which, great, like, I'm glad that happened, but it's mind-blowing. It is, I mean, that's crazy. You have, like, C.B. Buckner sucks, but he has been an umpire since, like, 1995. How is he never a crew chief?
Well, it's not just that. It's also that diversity with umps suck.
Yeah.
There's 6 minority umpires.
Is that still the case?
Yeah.
Even Hispanic ones, like Les Diaz? 4
Hispanics, 2 African Americans.
That is crazy. I mean, that's crazy. The Hispanic one blows my mind.
And mind you, we don't claim Angel Hernandez. We don't want him.
Yeah, like,
we want to give him back. We want to draft someone else,
Yeah.
But in addition to that, I was also reading, and I hope I can pull it up. It wasn't just the hiring of Kerwin Danley. It was also the promotion of, let me see here. Alfonso Marquez.
They had like 4 of them, right?
Yeah, he was and they brought up a Dominican umpire, Ramon de Jesus, 36 years old, so he's pretty young. He was a minor league umpire since 2009. They actually called him up to the big leagues, so he will be umpiring this year.
And he's the first Dominican ump, isn't he?
He's the first Dominican umpire, yeah.
Like, how is that? There's been so many Dominican baseball players and whatnot. Like, how is that not carry over into umpiring?
You have a sport that is dominated by minorities, and the people who communicate the most with them are the least represented. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like, look, I can understand. I've got my own views on diversity hiring. I am a recruiter in real life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that necessarily just saying, "Hey, you're a minority, let's hire you," like,
I agree,
is not necessarily the path I'd take. But it's crazy in an industry that is such a heavy minority, particularly Hispanic population, that we're just getting our first Dominican ump ever and our first black crew chief. Like, that is. Think of the black players in the 80s.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, they weren't hiring black umps back then.
And like I said, we don't count Angel Hernandez. We don't claim him.
Yeah, that was, so on one hand, like, it's great, like, that's progress, but on the other hand, I can't believe that we're just now reaching those milestones.
I mean, and that's kind of where we're at as a country. Didn't we just now officially ban lynchings? I think lynchings were just officially, like, outlawed in the United States in 2020.
I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy. There's so many. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy to think about. So anyway, so MLB just continues this off season of hell, really.
Yeah.
They couldn't, I don't think, be more excited for games to start.
They need to hire the Popeyes chicken sandwich PR team.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, get they you know what they need, which they're probably not getting because of the lack of black crew chiefs, is they need black Facebook or black Twitter. They need them to get on board here, start promoting.
Black Planet went out of business a long time ago.
That would get things going. So, Matt, you bring up in the comments section, can we outlaw trash cans in the Astros dugout? Just a program note, I will be in that stadium 1 week from today. So I don't know if I'll necessarily go live because I don't know what this...
To go live.
What's that?
You have to.
I will try. I need to see what the security precautions are because, like, I'm not...
have to.
Just go live. I'm here for Minute Maid Park.
You have to get arrested, you fucking do it, man.
Yeah, I'm considering it. It's a work function, so I kind of, like, need to not... but that part's not a work function. I'm going on my own, but the rest of it is. So I need to, like, stay out of jail. But I will see what it is. I really just feel like, and I'll ask this innocently and deadpan, I'm going to ask the tour guide first thing, like, can we see the replay review room? Because I really would want to see that, but I feel like I'm going to be guaranteed to wear a Yankee hat, and they will just not like that.
Hide it. And then when they say yes, you pull it out.
Yeah, after like my third or fourth question.
You have to look for holes in the walls where the TVs were mounted.
Yeah, I feel like I'll just innocently ask, like, questions that relate to it, but, like, every so often.
Strategically.
Right. Yeah. Nothing obvious like buzzers, but be like, can I see the replay review room? Like, are we, that's a really loud trash can we just passed. Like,
you could bring, like, vibrating dildos and shit, just.
Yeah. So.
You put out two-bay water?
So 1 week from today, like right around lunchtime, I'll be in that stadium. So I'll go live and give you my thoughts. That'll be our version of Dong City for that day, since we're not doing a show.
I think we should do an impromptu Dong City live show, 20 minutes just to have fun with it.
Yeah, maybe when I get back to the hotel, I'll just, like, check in real quick. We can go live. I'll be like, hey, I went on this tour of Minute Maid Park. And
no, you have to do it on the tour.
Yeah, I should just hold my phone up the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's start yelling like World Star,
So that's what's happening next week. But anyway, this last segment here, and then we'll make a few announcements going forward. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. There's two more. One, so Keith Law has released his farm rankings, which I find impressive.
Yes.
Keith Law is so interesting because he seems to bash everyone's prospects. Like he throws cold water on everyone. But then he has these
a lot of flack, but he's not wrong often.
What's that?
He's not that wrong often. He's not wrong any more than any of the other guys. It's just for some reason people just don't like him. And
yeah. And his rankings are kind of unorthodox. Like they don't line up with Baseball Prospectus, with MLB.com, with the, any of those groups. So anyway, he's got the
Athletic now. So
yeah. So thanks to paid subscription, Razor number one, which makes sense. And this is why I've said this a lot. The Athletics scare me the most of this year as far as competition to the Yankees to win the pennant. The Rays scare me the most long term, more than the White Sox, more than anyone else in the AL, because they have a crazy amount of high-end prospects down the pipeline, and they're already really good.
I said it once and I say it again, the best scouting team in the game.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable what they're capable of.
They trade guys at the right time. They trade for guys at the right time. If you make a trade with the Rays, just know you took a L. They best team in the game when it comes to that.
Yep. And the other thing to note about them is a lot of their best prospects, including their best Wandy, are middle infielders. And I'm a little higher on middle infield high-end prospects because they can move to a lot of different places. So, that's terrifying. Braves are second. No surprise there.
I just want to touch on that because you're right. I think value-wise, you also get a larger return for middle infielders.
Yep.
So, even if you don't keep them, the guys you're sending away, there's more value there.
Yeah, I mean, if the bat projects to be an outfield bat, they can pretty much play anywhere except catcher. And even then, we've seen them convert to catcher sometimes.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, Braves are second. Not really a surprise there. I'm kind of surprised they haven't taken more of a hit just with the players they've graduated.
Well, that's who's number 3. You can say that for them too.
Yep, 3 is the Dodgers. No surprise there. 4 is the Diamondbacks, which I feel like after the Astros kind of emptied their farm for Zach Greinke, which I didn't think was a great deal, and now I'm right because they didn't win the World Series with them. Mm-hmm. They are 4th, so maybe they're on the rise. Maybe someone to challenge. NL West could get really tricky soon with the Padres and Diamondbacks.
Jazz Chisholm. Cool ass name, high ass ceiling.
Well, he got traded to the Marlins, speaking of on the rise. So he's part of that contingent. Padres are 5th, by the way.
Yep.
And that's because of their graduations, Fernando Tatis Jr. being kind of the leader there. Here's the first one that surprises me, and it's pretty obvious. The Yankees are 6th, which if you talk to almost anyone else, they'd probably have the Yankees in the teens. But here,
I've seen Yankees from like 11th to 15, 16. So.
Yeah, and the big reason he cites, and this is something I've been touting for a long time, they've completely changed how they go about pitchers. The days, I think, of the Yankees just not being able to develop pitching, which Boston still can't do, I think those are over. And Clark Schmidt's a great example, as he cites him. Clark Schmidt was not, he's a risky first-round pick, but he wasn't that highly touted because of his issues, but they look at things like his spin rate and that type of stuff, and now he's arguably their best prospect in the system.
I think he's going to help the Yankees this year.
He's a fast riser. I think he'll be up this year. I don't think he's not going to make the rotation out of spring training like some fans think.
We're going to see him.
I think like August,
early summer, midsummer, but we're going to see him.
I think we'll see him sometime. I would take the over-under All-Star break. I'd say after that.
With the injuries and with so many things, you never know.
And you have Paxton and Herman back theoretically in May and June. So it's a lot of injuries.
I want to see how he pushes Davey. So
yeah. So anyway, Schmidt kind of the ringleader of these guys. Davey, he has all those peripherals. His biggest problem is his frame. That's really it.
Brian Cashman, listen to me. Please package that man and go get Mike Clevenger, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I am not at all opposed because even if Garcia pans out, and I've been the first to say I don't think he will be a front of the rotation pitcher. I just not based on what I see.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he is, though, it's going to be like a Lincecum type career. Like he might give you 5 or 6 years, and then he's done. Just can't.
Clevenger is one of those guys that you know my 2 favorite pitchers, Clevenger and Castillo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Castillo. Well, yeah, that's like my fantasy dream this year.
That's my Dong City picture.
So Yankees ahead of the Blue Jays. I've always liked the Blue Jays system the last few years. They did graduate Bichette and Vlad, so I'm sure that was a huge hit. But the Blue Jays are 7th. Marlins, as I talked about earlier in the show, they are now up to 8, so they're getting there. Yep. And you know that they're not going to be selling those guys anytime soon. I was kind of shocked by the Gallen trade because I liked him a lot, but they're just going to be more on the rise.
Speaking of organizations who just keep hitting and keep doing things, number 9, Vince?
Number 9 is the Cardinals.
They always did. They're like Tampa Bay. They always find guys. They plug and play. They trade guys. They get rid of guys, and they just call other guys up. So
Dylan Carlson, as I posted earlier today, he's the guy kind of on the rise in that system. Someone to look out for. The Giants are 10th. This is another one that's surprising only because I'm lazy. I still would have guessed they were like 20th just based on the fact I didn't think they had a farm. But they're on the rise. Mariners, another team. They're 11th now. You got the Royals 12th. And then you get to the White Sox. This was my second major surprise. They have fallen all the way to 13. And the reason that Law says is the reason that I'm not like as gung-ho about the White Sox as I am, say, the Padres in 2021. And it's because they have really great front-end depth, right? They've got Madrigal and Luis Robert and those types of guys. But after that, it's not deep. Like after your top 10 prospects, no one has a chance of being anything. So that's what Law points out. That's kind of what I've always felt. Now, look, it's enough to make the White Sox a winning team because they already have some talent who's up, and they're gonna get those guys who could be superstars. But this isn't a pipeline that's going to last forever, and that would bring me concerns when you haven't arrived yet.
Don't even mention 14. Skip 14. They don't exist.
14's no longer in baseball, so they don't matter. 15's the Twins, good for them. 16, a little bit surprised by this is the Mets, only because I thought they would be a little higher. We keep hearing about we keep hearing about their prospects. They did trade 2 of them for Stroman for this year. But
and they traded a couple for Cano and Diaz, don't forget.
That's also true. Yeah, so they have and it's noted they emptied 4 of their top 10 prospects the last 2 years. Man, they better make the playoffs this year. If you're a Mets fan, there's no excuse if they don't make the playoffs this year because you lose Stroman.
I've been saying it's that thing that you don't want to spend on players, so you're buying players with your talent, and
which is silly.
If you win, it works. If you win, it's worth it. If you don't win, that's going to set you back.
Yeah, Mets. In my mind, if you're a New York fan this year, Yankees, it's World Series or bust. Mets, it's playoffs or bust. I don't think there's any way getting around it for either team. Don't want to hear about the division. Don't want to hear about the league. Don't want to hear about this or that.
I'm still high on the Mets this year.
I think that, we'll get to that in the preview show. I'm not low on the Mets. I'm just saying the expectations are there. When you sell
if they don't make the playoffs, that's
a failed. Problem. This isn't odd. Like Yankees 2016 or 2017 was house money. That was an audition year. They end up 1 game short of the World Series. The Mets 2015 to me was that was, no one expected that. But this year, both have expectations. There's no getting around it. Rangers 17, Angels 18. God, I like Angels fans. There's a lot of guys in baseball life, a lot of girls too, who are they're really good fans. I'll say that about the Angels. But God, that fucking team is just so stupid. You have the 18th best farm. Everyone's talking about Joe Adell, another outfielder, Brandon Marsh, another outfielder. Like, that's the only thing they do is produce these outfielders and these pitchers who need Tommy John. That's it.
We hear the same thing. They just the same guys over and over. How many prospects were supposed to take over center field for Trout and move it to the corner now? 2, 3?
Yeah. All they do is produce the least important of the prospects, the outfield prospects, especially on that team when you're paying Trout $1 billion.
it just sucks because they're ranked 18th here. You know, their pitching woes are obvious this year. You don't know. I don't know that you really believe that they're going anywhere this year. They could surprise. I mean, you know, we always have one or two teams that no one really saw coming out of nowhere. I like that offense. I don't see how they go anywhere with that pitching.
You add Rendon, and if Adele is what we think he could be, that's nice. You know, that's a good offense.
But they don't pitch.
Right. They have a few relievers who intrigue me, but the rotation is still such a fucking shit. Like, Dylan Bundy's such a shit show to me. I don't think the Angels have the tools to make Dylan Bundy what he was supposed to be. If he went to like an Astros or a Rays or even a Dodgers or Yankees, I'd say, I'm a little intrigued by his like spin rates and velocity and shit. Not the Angels. What have they done? Nothing. There's no reason to be excited when you have the 18th round.
They do have the best golf player on the planet, so.
What's that?
They do have the best golf player on the planet.
Oh, well, yeah. I've got nothing bad to say about Mike Trout, except he's boring, of course. Tigers 19, they're not going anywhere for a long time. The Rockies 20, another team that just can't get their shit together.
They scare me because they had a 2 to 3 year window where they looked legit. Charlie Blackmon was a stud and then just died last year.
Completely with you. I thought circa, I don't know, like 2016 maybe. I thought they were going to explode, and they seem to have a great position prospect everywhere, and it seems like not a single one is reaching their ceiling.
Trevor Story went from having a stone glove to being amazing defensively. Everyone was hitting, and I don't know, they didn't do anything, and now they suck.
Yeah,
they're gonna suck, and according to this, they're ranked 20th with their prospects. So,
and here's another team I'm very concerned about, not nearly to the degree of those last two, but the Indians have the 21st ranked farm according to Keith Law.
We can help.
They want to restock. I don't know who they're like. The Twins have moved better in the farm and in the regular season ahead of them. So what are you doing? You're not going to buy your way into it.
We can help you. Just give him to me.
I agree. I'm totally on the Clevenger. If we traded for Clevenger and then added Bauer next year while Tanaka.
I know you love Bauer. I know.
Yeah, that's the most. I'd get both of their shirts just on principle.
Leave the fucking drone home.
Yes, banned in the Yankee clubhouse. Phillies 22. That's a team that would scare me long term, but I think that they could be on the rise this year.
All their guys are up, so I mean that's a very young team.
And Alec Boehm and Spencer Howard are in low A, so they're not going to be coming to it. That's a tough spot. Reds 23, but we kind of know what they're trying to do. Like, they're all in this year.
Yep.
You can't blame a mid-market team for doing this. The stars have aligned. This is their year to compete, but they don't have a lot of farm left. So,
agreed.
But they have a bunch of young guys up. Like Aquino's up. Who's their center? Sensel's up. They've already graduated some guys.
Senso is not even – he's pushed to the bench role at this point.
Yeah, they've got a shitload of outfield depth. Maybe they can trade us to the Angels so they can just have all the outfielders possible. Orioles 24. God, that's a slow drip. They are just such a slow drip. They're not going to be good for another 3 to 5 years at least.
You just mentioned 24 teams.
Yeah.
There's a team I haven't heard yet.
This is a team in a rebuild with 23 teams with better prospects.
Hold on. Wait. But I want to get past them. I'm okay with the Orioles. They suck. You've named 24 teams, and there's a team I haven't heard yet.
Your 25th team, and this cracks me up because I talked to some of their fans, and they think like they're going to come. They've got the infantry coming. The Boston Red Sox 20.
The daddy, there you go.
I'll say this. 2021, the Sox might be able to compete. And the reason is they're going to have that little bit of like 30, 40 million they can add to payroll. They've still got Erod. This is totally contingent on Sale again, not having a long-term injury, but they've got Sale, Erod. They've got their relievers, at least their farm has relievers. Like, that's what they need, and that's what they have. But, man, if you have a $200+ million payroll in the 25th best farm and you're going to probably finish third this year, that's not a good spot.
And you gave away a top 5 player.
Yep, not a good spot. Yeah, and you just traded your best player, and you're still in that position. Not a good spot. 26 is the A's, but that's their 26-man roster is disgusting though to me.
They got the Eminem boys.
Yeah, and all their pitchers are up now, so they don't need too much more.
Still, there's a big team not mentioned.
This makes me the happiest, and I said this.
Who can't draft?
They don't have first or second round picks the next 2 years. Their two best pitchers are in their late 30s. They traded the farm for a guy who has anxiety issues and can't get through 6 innings. The Astros are 27th. I have said this, and I'll say it for the next year and a half. They are going to suck in 2022. They are not. They don't have anything coming up. They don't have any picks to refill the farm. And Verlander and Greinke and Osuna and Springer and I think Correa are walk years between this year and next year. I love it.
I'm happy. I'm good. Boston 25.
Yep.
Houston 27. I'm good.
Cubs 28. I think to Cubs fans' credit, at least we don't hear about overhyped. They know their farm sucks. I think they're just in denial that their major league roster gets worse and worse every year.
I mean, how long does the championship buy them? I know they're happy, but
you won 2016. I understand the dramatics of that, and the thing to me by now, it's worn off.
It starts to wear off, right?
3 grace years out of it, which is 1 grace year more than I think most fan bases give. Now you have the 28th best farm, and you might finish 3rd in your division, probably 4th.
And I think his opening line on his write-up is perfect. You don't care, right, Nats fans? You got a ring. That's what the farm is for. When it works out, it works out.
Yeah. I'll still take sustain. Well, this might fan some flame. This might fan some flames. I'd take the Cardinals way over the Cubs, even if they haven't won most recently.
I agree. They're consistent.
This is why I didn't want to sell the farm for a Garrett Cole type pitcher. I'd rather buy him.
They're consistent. Remember the hit they took when they refused to give Pujols to 10 years? I mean.
Yep. Nationals 29, no surprise there. They got everything that they can have at the major league level. And the Brewers are 30, which that team's going to disappear off the earth soon. They're going to just be nothing.
Bernie Brewer's going to be sliding down with a rope around his neck.
Yeah, that's not a team that I'm optimistic about long term. Here we go. So the odds just kind of goes in line. Odds of winning the World Series. We've got a tie at the top. This is no surprise to anyone. Yankees and Dodgers both plus 350.
Yep.
Is it worth betting on? Probably not. It's not a great bet.
Betting perspective, absolutely not.
And honestly, it's a toss-up to me. If it was Yankees-Dodgers in the World Series, I'm not going to be as optimistic as I would have been last year. And that we could.
That means you have to bet $350 to win $100.
Yeah, that's not great. Astros plus 700. You could throw your money away. Look, I
don't know how they're third.
They still have a really good major league roster. It just has a lot of downside. Verlander and Greinke could both suck next year, and it would not shock me at all.
You know what I should have done? I should have compared the last year's odds right around this time, the Astros to now.
I would say they're at least double, in a good way. It was at worst plus 350. Might have been plus 250.
Yeah, something, but.
Braves 4th, no surprise there. Nationals 5th, not necessarily surprised there. Twins 6th is a joke to me just because they're a joke in the playoffs. And the Mets 7th. This gets a lot of shit. Weren't the Mets 5th 3 weeks ago? What happened? I don't understand how they just dropped. But, to be fair, they're in a tie with the Twins for 6th. So they fell back 1 spot. The Nationals passed them somehow.
If I'm looking at this list as a betting man.
Yeah, let's go to that to wrap up here. What would you take?
Oakland at plus 3,000.
That's a good one.
I would put some money on Toronto at plus 9,000. That return with that team's offense, I'm
not touching Toronto. Only because I think Ryu is going to –
I'm just looking from a betting perspective,
Yeah, I get it from an odds point. But to me, that's just what's the point? Like, they have zero chance of winning the World Series.
Cincinnati at plus 2,500 to me is a great bet.
Yeah, I think you hit on the Reds and the A's and maybe even the Rays.
Tampa Bay at plus 2,200. Yeah,
Those are the three I think I'm in on.
I would put $100 on St. Louis plus 2,000.
Their odds are as boring as that team. Just like, yeah, nice and steady, could happen.
They're boring but consistent.
No, they are.
But yeah, if you give me $300 and you tell me I can make three $100 bets, I'd put 100 on the Rays, 100 on the Reds, and 100 on Oakland.
Which is kind of shocking because those are the three teams that everyone's like, yeah, those teams are, those are your sleepers this year too.
By the way, I misspoke when I was talking about the Yankees and the Dodgers. I know I said you have to bet 350 to win 100. That's incorrect. You have to bet 100 to win 350.
Right. Yeah. I actually, in my head, I was like, you're wrong. And then I just didn't say anything.
I have you know me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are my three teams too. I think we're in agreement there. So next week, no show. I will, maybe an impromptu one. We'll see. I will be at Minute Maid Park.
I'll get him to do it. Don't worry about it.
And then after that, so we've got a couple of things in the pipeline with the baseball shows. Felipe and Sean, of course, have Total Bases. We're going to try, and it hasn't been confirmed, we're going to try and do a mock draft of people. So we're going to try and do a mock draft on their show. I would be involved in that. I've volunteered. I'll let them handle the rest of that. So stay tuned on that.
Well, you volunteered us. What you did.
Yeah. On our show, our next official show is March 16th. And then we'll be weekly after that because March 23rd, I think, is right before the regular season starts. And then from then, everyone's playing. But March 16th, we're going to do our preview show close enough to the regular season. And we're going to have Sean and Felipe both on as guests. So all four of us will go through division winners, the award, your basic awards, Cy Young, MVP, that type of stuff. And maybe we'll do, we'll have to decide if we want to do like the actual rankings in each division.
What's the over under on Sean's subliminal Yankee mentions?
Yeah, I'd like 4.5. I'd say to that.
He'll probably come in with a standing ovation,
Yeah. Felipe will just be touting all 9 of his teams as he goes along. They're all sleepers.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So anyway, so join us for that. So March 16th, our next official show. It should be same time. We'll have Felipe and Sean on as guests. Look out for their show as they plan it. And that's everything I've got. Do you have anything on your end, Henry, before we sign off here?
We'll see you we'll see you next week. I'm going to get Vince to do the show. Happy we can start doing weekly shows after that. And I can't wait till the games get started.
This has been Donk City. Have a good one.
Donk City, bitches.